This is Letter to Sons. I'm Doug Keating. Congratulations, you are going to Europe for a week-long vacation this year, 2024. In the last several videos, I've talked about where to go. Today, I'm going to shift focus to 5 things to do and not do to have an awesome week-long vacation in Europe. Let me start by answering a basic question. Why in the world should you trust my opinion about this topic? In case you haven't watched any of my other videos, I'll mention here that I've completed multiple week-long vacations to Europe over the past decade. The best way to learn about European travel is by actually going there. Yes, you can learn a lot by videos, reading books. There's nothing like being there to learn what to do and not do. In case you have watched one of my previous videos where I shared things to do and not do for a perfect long weekend in Europe, I promise this video I'm not going to repeat any content. Here's the link in case you want to check out that video. Let's get started. Do number 1, spend at least 2 nights at your first stop. If you're an American like me, that means you're flying overnight to get to Europe. You're going to be dragging ass the first few days. The reason you want to spend 2 nights is to have that time to recover from your travel. Don't jump right in, and I get it. Some of you are saying, I can handle jet lag. If you're traveling with others though, they may need some time. So spend 2 nights at your first stop. Don't number 1. Don't plan on seeing much of Europe during your week-long vacation. I see people make this mistake all the time. They try to do way too much. Look at the example on the screen. For this trip, you're starting in London, going to Paris, down to Barcelona, over to Venice, and finishing in Rome. Overall, I love this agenda. It would be an awesome trip. If you tried to execute this within a week time frame, you're going to spend the majority of your time on planes, trains, taxis, etc. You need 2 weeks, in my opinion, to execute this trip. Take your time, enjoy your travel. Don't try and do too much in a week. Europe will be there. You can always come back later. Do number 2. See a mixture of urban and rural sites, city and country, to get a better feel for the local culture. Great example, Barcelona is a wonderful city. While there, I would recommend day tripping out into the country to see some of the medieval villages that are scattered all over. You see on the screen a picture of a village called Peratallada. Most people have never heard of it. It is a magical medieval masterpiece. Don't number 2. Don't move around every night. This can be a nightmare situation for some people if you change locations every single day. You'll be doing what I call the duffel bag drag through the old town trying to find your hotel. Instead, I recommend home basing in a few locations and day tripping from there. Do number 3, rent a car if you need one. For most major European cities, you're not going to need a rental car to get around. And you can use a train and public transportation for a week-long vacation in a lot of areas. However, if you want to get out to the countryside and explore more, a rental car is a great way to do that. Driving in most European countries is not that difficult. Rent that car and start exploring. Don't number 3, don't pack too much. When you arrive at the airport in Europe, you'll notice some people bring a lot of luggage. Big mistake for a week-long vacation. Here are some issues that come up if you bring too much luggage. First, many hotels do not have elevators, or the ones they have are tiny, so it is going to be a pain in the ass just getting your bags to your room. Second, rental cars tend to be smaller. You and your bags need to fit into that car if you rent one. And third, do you really want to drag all that stuff around Europe? Limit your luggage. A purist will tell you should limit it to only a carry-on. I don't agree. I think for a week long, you can bring 1 checked bag. More than that, I think you're bringing too much stuff. Do number 4, use public transportation. For some Americans, public transportation where you live is not that great. For example, Kim and I live in the Washington, D.C. metro area. Most people here drive to get where they need to go because the public transportation is not overly reliable. Not the case in most major European cities. Good example, the Underground in London, easy to use, reliable. I would definitely leverage public transportation as much as possible during your vacation. Don't number 4, don't take a big bus tour if you can avoid it. The reason I don't like big bus tours, the experience not great. You're going to be one of many packed into this bus following 1, maybe 2 tour guides around. I especially don't like big bus tours when you're going out into the countryside. Rather go with a small group tour, private guide, avoid the big bus if you can. Which leads to do number 5, hire a local guide if you can. What do I mean by local guide? The guide is from where you are or where you're going. My favorite tours have been by tour guides who kick off by saying, I was born here, I grew up here, I love this area, and you're gonna have the best time. Word of warning, in some cities there are free tours run by students. Just realize you get what you pay for. In this case, not an expert when compared to a real local tour guide. Don't number 5, don't expect America. This one seems like a no-brainer. However, I have witnessed firsthand many times Americans that go to Europe and expect it to be like America. It's not. The reason you go to Europe is to experience different cultures. Sure, there are McDonald's and Starbucks scattered all over Europe. Like this one, McDonald's located in Porto, Portugal, probably one of the most beautiful McDonald's in the entire world. I would skip it if you can. I will give one caveat. If you're traveling with kids, sometimes they're kind of sick of eating the local food and you want to fill their stomachs with something they like McDonald's. Sure, go ahead and order a Big Mac and whatever else they want from that menu. Speaking of food, here is a bonus do. Eat the local food as much as possible. I believe one of the best ways to learn about and experience a culture is through its food. For example, when you're in Spain, eat tapas. What a wonderful invention. Tapas allow you to sample a bunch of different dishes to see what you like and don't like. Bonus note, don't rush your meals. For many Americans, we eat fast, and the restaurants we eat at are more than happy to kick us out as quick as possible and give the table to the next customer. That's not the norm in Europe. You can linger at some restaurants. In fact, in some parts of Europe, a meal is an hour or 2 normally. What's that mean? Take your time, save your food, and enjoy it. I mean, look at this view in Venice. I totally would spend as much time as I could while eating in this restaurant. I will give one caveat. If you're traveling with children, it's not a normal expectation for them to sit through a 2-hour dinner. My recommendation is go early to the restaurant, take as much time until the kids start freaking out, and then get on to the next thing. Let me wrap this video by talking about one thing that's gonna bug you after you return from your perfect week-long vacation in Europe, and that is you're gonna wanna go back as soon as possible. Amen. Get planning pronto. If you follow the do's and don'ts that I covered in this video, hopefully that makes you have an awesome experience and you can plan to return to Europe next year.